Have you ever wondered why the ponies that we all know and love are so relatable and have such a deep and distinctive personality?
All the ponies in this town are crazy!
Yes, they are, and admittedly, so am I. But more specifically, Lauren Faust created each character to suffer from at least one personality disorder. Some more serious than others, of course. I may not be Dr. Wolf or Mr. Diagnosis, but I am a maven when it comes to scientific research who happens to be an entertainer, and it's about time that we psychoanalyze the rainbow-colored pastel ponies from Friendship is Magic. So which pony can be described as being uncomfortable or upset in situations in which she is not the center of attention, is guilty of self-dramatization, theatricality, and exaggerated expression of emotion, using their physical appearance as a means to draw attention, and the use of excessive impressionistic speech that lacks detail is common in their everyday speech.
I did not forget the plate! I did! This is the worst possible thing!
These are a few symptoms of a condition known as histrionic personality disorder. It's a long-standing pattern of attention-seeking behavior and extreme emotionality. So this behavior can annoy their friends, and it can wreak havoc in their romantic relationships, especially when they are manipulative to get the attention that they so crave. So naturally, this describes Fluttershy quite well, don't you think? Just kidding. Throughout the 5 seasons of My Little Pony, Rarity has exhibited multiple characteristics of histrionic personality disorder, or at least she can be a drama queen, diva, a princess at times, but that's why we love her.
I want to wallow in whatever it is that ponies are supposed to wallow in!
Would it surprise you if Rainbow Dash had attention deficit hyperactive disorder, also known as ADHD? If you watch Testing 123 again, look at her habitual hyperactive behavior that distracts her from her lessons. This is pretty consistent with someone who has ADHD. However, there really isn't enough evidence to have a distinctive diagnosis. And it doesn't help that ADHD is often misdiagnosed among children who just naturally have a high energy level at school without the means to channel it in a productive way. Then there's narcissistic personality disorder. It's the belief that the world revolves around them. This condition is characterized by a lack of the ability to empathize with others and a desire to keep the focus on themselves all the time. Cocky, self-centered, impulsive, demanding, exaggerating one's own achievements, always hiding insecurity, and a constant need for fame, attention, and admiration. Do these traits sound like Rainbow Dash?
Yes, it's all true.
Although Rainbow Dash is the definition of a big ego, with self-centered ambitions, she has the scale to warrant most of her confidence. So it might be more appropriate to say she has narcissistic tendencies. At least she has displayed empathy with others, so she isn't at risk of acting like a sociopath. Except that one time, and that was really bad. So do you agree with this diagnosis?
Yeah, I'm awesome! Take caution! Watch out for me, I'm awesome as I wanna be!
Twilight Sparkle, in my opinion, has mild anxieties and obsessive-compulsive personality disorder. First of all, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, causes severe anxiety to those it affects. It involves both obsessions and compulsions that take a lot of time and get in the way of a lot of important activities that the person values. When it comes to OCD, it's important to note that anxiety is the root cause of this condition, and obsessive behavior is the response to cope with that anxiety. So remember, no matter how unrealistic that anxiety appears, it is real to them.
No offense, Sugar Cube, but it looks like some ponies getting themselves all worked up over nothing. This is not nothing. This is everything.
Although similar to OCD, Obsessive-Compulsive Personality Disorder, OCPD, is a personality disorder characterized by an irrational concern with orderliness, perfectionism, excessive attention to details, interpersonal control, and/or a need to be in complete control over one's environment, at the expense of flexibility and openness. This irrational need to be in control over her environment became quite evident in the episode It's About Time.
Doing things didn't work. Not doing things didn't work, so I only had one other choice. Monitor everything.
Twilight's OCPD affected her as a student while in Canterlot. Her studying made friendships and family second fiddle in her life. You know, now that I think of it, that kind of reminds me of Moondancer.
Ugh.
What? Was it something I said? Those who have OCPD are so focused on isolated activities that it's really difficult to make room for close friendships. Hence the phrase, friendship is magic. Just think about that for a second. Anyway, each season it appears that Twilight Sparkle learns to better manage her anxiety, but it does seem to flare up every now and then.
No reason to freak out!
So what about Applejack? I got nothing. Although she does seem to have the most depressing backstory out of the main 6.
I'm gonna get every last apple out of those trees this apple buck season all by myself.
I found Fluttershy's condition to be the most tricksy to assess, but I say she has a very serious case of avoidant type personality disorder and social anxiety disorder. Avoidant type personality disorder is characterized by a long-standing pattern of feelings of inadequacy with extreme sensitivity to what others think about them, and has social inhibitions. In addition, there are other symptoms that Fluttershy displays, including avoiding large groups of people, and the preoccupation of potential criticism and rejection. This description really does explain Fluttershy to a tree and putting your hoof down. To be clear, having an avoidant type personality does not mean being shy. The concern here is that she's relying on being submissive rather than addressing the problem. And the fear of a social setting negatively affects your quality of life is when it becomes a problem. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, social anxiety disorder is the extreme fear of being scrutinized and judged by others in social and performance situations, interfering with their lives in school, work, and their social life. It's very normal to be scared to have to perform in the spotlight, or to be nervous that you'll embarrass yourself in front of groups large and small. But if it induces panic attacks on a regular basis, then that's a problem that requires treatment. I think it's quite clear she does have social anxiety disorder because of the intense panic attacks that she experienced in Philly Vanilli and also in Hurricane Fluttershy. Each season has shown Fluttershy to make baby steps toward addressing these anxieties through silent bravery, along with support and encouragement from her friends. And many complain that she's always having to learn the exact same thing over and over and over again, but her deep-rooted anxieties is a long life struggle that requires patience and professional treatment.
I'll get there someday, but for now, baby steps, every pony, baby steps.
And finally, there's Pinkie Pie, and oh my goodness, Pinkie Pie, where do I even begin?
I'll never forget you!
Oh, something floaty! La 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 la!
How often does Pinkie Pie consume large quantities of food in less than 2 hours? Not all binge eaters are overweight or obese. The long-term health effects of a binge eating disorder can be quite severe. I think it's quite arguable to say that Pinkie Pie has hypomania. How would you describe Pinkie Pie's personality? High energy, creative, talkative, impulsive, and a mind that grinds faster than most people can keep up with. Pinkie-mania is the definition of hypomania, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it can be a quite positive and productive character trait. But it can turn into a problem with those who suffer from a bipolar disorder or depression. And of course I can't do this video without talking about Pinkie Pie's mental breakdown in the episode Party of One. And initially I thought Pinkie Pie's change in behavior and her hallucinations was the result of a condition known as schizophrenia. Except that schizophrenia is a chronic, severe, and disabling disorder. These hallucinations seem to be limited to this one episode, so it doesn't appear to be a debilitating or a chronic issue in her life. So what else could it be? Like I said before, someone with bipolar disorder will have very rapid transitions of intense states of euphoria and crushing thoughts of despair. And if it is combined with full-blown mania, it can, in highly stressful circumstances, trigger a temporary state of psychosis.
Oh, they're not so bad.
Where the individual loses contact with reality. So Pinkie Pie's perceived abandonment from her friends would have been the trigger of the short-term psychosis. This would explain her spontaneous recovery, along with her drastic mood change when the previous stressor was relieved. Even though each live with very significant flaws and serious conditions, it is through their small group that these unevenly yoked characters can work together to keep one another grounded. And now that I think about it, it's almost as if the main 6 formed their own support group in order to work through their struggles in everyday life. So I did not make this video to somehow prove that these ponies are all nutjobs. No, I understand there really isn't enough information to make a diagnosis. Do you think my claims have some weight, or is it just pure speculation? Let me know in the comment sections below. And if you're looking for a Brony analyst to help you get through your hiatus blues, well, I'm here to help. I hope to do a follow-up video for this, and you can help me by asking me a few concepts or definitions that you want me to clarify. And if you want to know how the mental health of each pony influenced my opinion on Best Pony, click here. So thanks for watching, and God bless. It's an issue and debate that has occasionally ravished this fandom like a plague. Don't worry, I'm not going to be a cliche cop-out and say all of them.
They can't all be your favorite.